Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Greetings of peace. For those of you who don't know what I just said, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you, is what I just said in English, translating from Arabic. Well, good afternoon, my brothers and sisters of Islam and many other faiths. And also, if you do not believe in anything, we will consider you our brother or sister of humanity, mashallah. Today, we're going to be talking about Sharia law, and this is something that many Americans are, they're very afraid of, I would say. I think that'd be the right thing to say, that they're afraid, or they have some concerns, but maybe the proper response is that they do not know. They have no exact idea what this is about, and this came from. Mashallah, we know that in 1935 in the United States, Prophet Muhammad was given the title of one of the best lawgivers from the Supreme Court. And you can look this up. You can find many documents on it. You can find this. You can confirm this with your court, that this is very true. Now the question is, why are people so afraid of Sharia law now than 1935? And I think the answer is because of our media itself. You see, on how it's portrayed and stuff like that. When you turn on the news every day, you're seeing a different terror story, and it kind of becomes their main focus. If they don't have a story about terror, they might as well just not even air tonight. That's how I think. And but if you think different, mashallah, that's okay. So we're gonna go more into the topic now. What people don't understand is that the Sharia law is actually 7% of the Quran. Everything else talks about prayer, women, the prophets, the peace, Allah's word, and a very small portion of it is Sharia law. And then if you look at Sharia law, a very small portion of it is capital punishment. So if once the media takes a look at Sharia law, and then the people of the United States look at it, what is the first thing that comes up? Well, it's certainly not about how we give out free bread if you don't have any money in certain Muslim countries. I know that's not what you're hearing. I'm pretty sure it isn't. What you're probably hearing about is chopping off heads and hands and arms, and that's probably the horror stories that you're listening to. More than likely. Actually, probably 100%. But that's a very small portion of the Sharia law itself. And that's another thing that people don't understand, is you're getting a very small percentage of capital punishment. Now, if you look at the Bible, what does it say about one who, commits a homosexual act? He should be killed. One who rapes a woman in the Bible, he should be killed. It does say this. This is the law of Judaism, and this is the law of Christianity. Christians are to look at the laws of Moses. Okay? So that's another thing that needs to be understood. Mashallah. So you need to look into those things. You need to take some Christians, my Christian and Jewish brothers and sisters, you need to look at your own book to understand that when you're, afraid of this whole Sharia law, you're not really, opposing anything different that your book of God is saying. You're not opposing any different laws, and you really need to look at those things. What does it say about one who disrespects the parents in the Bible? That blood should be on the child's head. So, why are we just offended about Muslims taking over America? Plainly. Are we offended by Arabs? Is this Arab racism that we're not really expressing too much? Because you gotta understand, there's Americans who think only Arabs can be Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Some look at the media and they think that only blacks can be Muslims because of certain movies and certain shows that they're only portraying it like it's their religion. And this really confuses, and that's all the American people need for education. They don't need to pick up a book on it. They don't need to do it. They need to turn on the TV, and that's how they'll find their information. Sad, you know? And that can be a huge, huge problem, you know, when you're only getting that type of information. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you watched the Malcolm X movie, and now you think you know everything about Islam, and you really don't, you know. But that's a total different topic. I don't really want to get into that. This is about Sharia law, and I'd like to stick to it. So, like I was saying, you know, these laws would be no different from the Bible. And, you know, with this in 1935 being recognized as, you know, something normal, because they took Prophet Muhammad as one of the greatest lawgivers, and yes, he is listed, his name is listed as one of the greatest lawgivers in the United States Supreme Court in 1935. So that goes to show right there why all of a sudden, when the United States has war with Muslim nations, now we're condemning the Sharia law. None of the law has changed since the 1935 in the Sharia. And, you know, that's, you know, what needs to be understood. Now, there's going to be more on this topic. I'm going to get a lot more into this. I'm going to be reading a speech by Imam Ridwan, who is an imam from Morocco who I go over a lot of educational topics with. I'll be reading a lot of his speech on what he said about this, because I was asking about it last night. You know, I talked to a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine who's a Christian, but, you know, he really looks at Islam very differently, and, you know what I'm saying, as the average American person, I don't blame him because of what he was taught. He's a very good person, he's a very good Christian, you know, and we, even though he doesn't look at my religion as the truth, we agree on so many things, but inshallah we will speak soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.